and I will get you your ice. So congratulations on the ice winners for this match. If you missed any of the ice winners, we'll post in the forums a recap when all this is over. One more from Reddit that I wanted to get in, because I think it's a good question. One complaint that this person has heard about Vainglory is the run speed of heroes. Feel like at the start that they're moving through molasses, and they never reach what this person would describe as a truly satisfying high speed. Can you just talk about like your philosophy around movement speed?
Yes. Okay.
And we got Glaive on the screen right now, which is one of those that feels like he's moving slow, even though his move speed isn't actually slower.
He moves deliberately.
Yes. Yes. Movement speed, not in just Vainglory, but in any MOBA, is super, super important. And I'm going to explain why in a second. So first, we knew that we were going to be making a MOBA on a touch device. And we weren't sure whether it was going to be iPad or iPhone or both or neither or what have you. So we also wanted to make sure that the world, which looks really gorgeous and lush, also could fit inside of the memory on the device without too much struggle. That means that the overall size of the world can only be but so big. If you make it too big, then it can't actually fit on the device, or you run into performance issues. So when we were designing Vainglory, we were cautious, at least conservative, around the overall size. That said, part of what makes a MOBA feel like a MOBA is when a fight emerges, how long it takes the losing team to get to safe ground. In a MOBA, safe ground are turrets. For example, if you are getting attacked by somebody, you want to run to your turret because your turret's going to protect you. And that's awesome. If you can get to a turret very quickly, then the fight can only last for a few seconds. The shorter the fight is, the less chance, A, that the person that is attacking, who you also want to compliment them, less chance of them killing their victim, but also it means in order for them to kill their victim, they have to attack using burst. They have to do it quickly, right? Because in only a few seconds they can get to a turret. So if you have a very short amount of time, wherever you happen to be on the map, if it takes a short amount of time to get from that spot to a turret, then you're actually not going to have a very tense amount of gameplay, because the chases, like right now as you're watching George play, the chases are part of what makes a MOBA feel super, super intense. And so we wanted to make sure that there was plenty of time for those team fights to feel super organic. The second thing is that we wanted to make sure the camera was close enough to our heroes that you can kind of see them, that you can see their animations, the rich, lush environment, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. But the closer you are to the heroes, that means the faster somebody is moving, the faster they appear at the edge of your screen and then get to you. And you're at the center of your screen. The amount of time it takes somebody to get from the edge of your screen to the center of your screen is the amount of time that the person at the center of the screen, you the player, can react. If they can move very quickly, they can get from the edge of your screen to you so fast that it just feels like a surprise. It doesn't feel like it was actually a tactical exchange. It feels like they just were right off screen and then they appeared right next to you and then suddenly you're dead. And that doesn't feel like a MOBA either. It feels really bad. Now, one of the things we could have done, which is a great suggestion, is like, why don't you just take the exact map that you have and make it bigger, and then increase everybody's run speed, and then the amount of time it takes everybody to get everything is the exact same. So for play balance reasons, that's perfectly fine. But then the map itself is slightly larger. But in doing so, we would have not allowed Vainglory to work so well on really low-end devices, and we wanted as many people to have a chance to play it as possible. So we tried to strike a balance in the middle. And as much as I know that it seems kind of weird or frustrating, it means that at the end of the day, you get fights that really have a ebb and a flow to them. They don't just end immediately because somebody can just turn around and in 2 seconds can get back to a safe ground. Also, last thing on movement speed, which a lot of people don't think about. It's super important that people are gone when people are missing, like your enemy. You're in the lane and you don't see your enemy in the lane. If he's missing, you want to have a really good plausible excuse for where he could be. And the longer it takes him to go from his base back to the lane, the more time he has to go run around and be sneaky. So there's a bunch of different gameplay elements that feed into the amount of time it takes a person to get from point A to point B, and we were constantly tuning to make sure that that amount of time felt very good and very immersive. So that's the long-winded answer. Sorry, but I know that a lot of people have had that question in the past, and hopefully that helps.
So what you're saying is you haven't really thought about it.
Oh yeah, we've never thought about it. Yeah, we never gave it any thought. We should just totally turn it up to 11.
So I want to take a couple from the real-time Twitch chat. So Dim Celerity wants to know what the inspiration for Scarf's character was, and then a few people, including Denny S, wanted to know why the background didn't, or really, are we going to change that background image from Taka to Scarf now that, you know, Scarf's the latest hero?
Sure. So in answer to the first one, Scarf, all of our heroes come from different places. When we first started, and we were a very, very tiny company, we were only 8 people. I came up with all the ideas for the kits for the heroes, and I would sit down with Chainsaw, who's our art director, and we would figure out what the look and feel of the heroes would be. And that's usually how heroes were born back in the day. Nowadays, though, anybody that works here at Super Evil can come up with really cool hero ideas, and we'll pick the best of them, and those are the ones that we run with. Scarf himself was designed by our animator Jerome, who's Morgula. You can see him a lot on the forums, and he always thought that would be an awesome idea to have a baby dragon. I thought it was super charming. He brought the idea up with Chainsaw, and then artwork that all of us immediately fell in love with because we thought Scarf looked adorable and cute and awesome while simultaneously being super ferocious. And that's where Scarf's kit was really born, or his hero was really born, and then afterwards we figured out what his kit would be to match the hero. That's not always the way heroes come to life. Sometimes the heroes start with a kit first, where we're like, oh, this kind of set of abilities and gameplay will be super, super interesting, and then we'll design a hero around that. But sometimes heroes come from the other space, where it's like, oh, look at this picture, this is amazing, let's figure out a kit that'll go with it, and both turn out okay. So that was Scarf. And then what was the other question?
Are we going to change the main menu background to have Scarf on it?
We will likely do that at some point.
One day.
At one day. We currently have the main menu set up as it is because we thought that it would be a really nice thing for, since we were so fortunate to have Vainglory be shown in the Apple television commercial. We wanted to make sure. Yeah, the iPhone 6 commercial, yes. We wanted to make sure that anybody that found the game through the television commercial, when they downloaded it, would still recognize it as the same thing they saw on TV. And part of that was making sure that sort of the front menu, when you first open up the game, you're like, haha, this is exactly what I saw on TV. Cool, I found Vainglory, kind of thing. And that's the only reason why. But down the road, yes, we will be changing out the background splash art for Scarf or our newest heroes.
And I've seen it, and it looks good.
And it looks
fantastic.
It looks really gorgeous.
He's so cute.
Scarf is so amazing.
A few from Hybrider in the line chat. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I mention the line chat, there's a whole bunch of line chat groups for all the different regions. They fill up pretty fast because I think they're really got like a 200 player cap on them. But it's a fun way to interact with other players. And also we poke our heads in all the time and just kind of ask, you know, what's going on for you, what's working, what's not, just to make sure we kind of have the pulse of the community. So you can check that out.
That was a mistake. Oh, run! Watch the sword. Yeah! You lived! That's awesome.
Not supposed to happen.
Yeah, that was not supposed to happen.
I did not think there were going to be that many people there.
So
are you going to afterburn in there and then like blood song?
I'm thinking about it.
So close. Sorry. Keep going, play out period.
From the line chat, Hybrider has a few questions. First, how about putting a Santa hat on Kraken?
I think that was an awesome idea, and we actually we had some of the players mention that, and we were gonna do it, but then we started working on other stuff, and that ended up not making the list, which I'm super sorry about because it was really charming. Like we super wanted to do it, and we just ended up working on other stuff for you guys that we're really excited that you're going to love, but that one didn't make it.
And that feels like a bummer, but when you get like a new hero and update earlier than you otherwise would have, I think you'll probably
I think you'll probably agree that it's going to be pretty awesome to get the next guy.
A couple more
or girl.
From line there.
or animal. Right.
Need stuff to spend my ice on. And I've seen people also say this for Glory too.
Yes. So that is awesome, and first and foremost, thank you guys for anybody that ever supports us by buying ice. You cannot imagine how truly deeply grateful we super are over here. It helps us continue to make Vainglory. So giving you more things to spend your ice on, boy do we have ideas. So many ideas. Holy cow, do we have ideas. I don't think our problem is that we don't have great ideas that we want you to spend your ice on. It's that we can't do them all, and so we're trying to pick which ones we do first. But I know some of you guys have talked with us in the forums and online chat and on Reddit. Oh my goodness, George, run!
I'm running. I am running.
Oh no! So this is one of those examples of time to safety, right? So even with Glaive, with both boots and an afterburn, it was still several tens of seconds before he would be able to get to safe harbor, and that made that exact chase right there super tense.
That was
anyway.
Close.
But back onto the
ways to spend your ice in your
ways
glory.
to spend your ice in your glory. So we have a whole bunch of ideas. We're going to actually start sharing those ideas with you guys right around the start of the new year. You're going to first hear peeps about what kinds of cool stuff is going to happen through Playoff Beard at the start of the new year, and we hope you guys are going to be super excited about it. But we definitely have it on our radar, and all of you guys' suggestions are more than welcome. Throw them in the forums. We've heard them all and so forth, and we are going to try and bring you guys the best, awesomest stuff we possibly can.
So we're definitely cooking up some secret stuff we can't talk about yet in full, but keep an eye on the news section in the game. That is always where we will kind of premiere this new information unless we're revealing it here on the live stream. But there is a lot more to come. So thank you for supporting us, and you can use your ice or glory to unlock new heroes, because we always have more heroes in various stages of development. Some are with Chainsaw and concepting, all the way up to ones that Margulia is working on the animations for and are near release. So there will always be heroes that you can unlock, but there's going to be a lot of additional uses too.
Just giving a shout out right here to my boy George, rolling 4, 0, and 3 on Glaive, representing Super Evil Megacorp. What?
After my last performance.
I know. I had to give us a little bit of shout out since hopefully our last performance, everybody will forget that.
That never happened.
Never happened.
I want to ask one more from line, because we were just kind of talking about this recently, so I think it's pretty pertinent. Please re-roll Jewel. So,
oh man.
So where do you feel Jewel is on kind of Jewel balance? And we fixed a bug, which was kind of like a nerf at the end of the day.
Yes.
And kind of changed some numbers at the same time.
Yes.
And so how are we feeling about where Jewel's at and what might come with Jewel?
So first, you have my sincere apologies about that, because Jewel did have a couple of bugs that, in fixing, actually made her weaker, or at least it took a lot more skill to play her effectively. And you guys know, because when Jewel first came out, like, she was incredibly strong and very, 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 very strong. And then we helped correct her, and then after we corrected her, I felt like she was in a good place. But then we fixed 2 bugs that we found, and we were like, oh crap, there are 2 bugs, and we fixed them, and then that made her weaker. And then we just, in our last update, we changed the way her Thunderstrike works, so that you can target it. But overall, it seems like general consensus is that Jewel is kind of weak. So what we do on the balancing side is we're constantly playtesting internally, but we're also listening. Like, we always have our ear to the pulse of what's happening out there in terms of the games themselves. And so Jewel is definitely on sort of in my Eye of Sauron. My game designer thoughts are very closely linked to how Jewel is performing out there in the wild. And if we feel like there's going to be a really good correction that we can put out there, or a rebalance for Jewel, then we definitely will. I can't yet announce what that is, because before we do any real changes to a hero, we want to be able to playtest them and be super confident and make sure that they make the hero exactly what we think. I can't tell you exactly what that change is going to be, though I can definitely say that we've got a couple ideas internally, and the playtesting for those ideas have already started, and we'll see what ends up coming out.
Yep. So
keep an eye out for that down the road.
But yeah, we play a ton every day here. Ton. If you're thinking Jewel feels a little weak right now, we're experiencing what you're experiencing.
Yes.
Whether we draw the same conclusions, that is actually a different story.
Always different.
Because Neato is coming at this, with a designer brain. Like in that first week, a lot of people were saying Scarp was weak, and Neato was like, give it time.
Yes.
Give it time.
Give it time.
And now at least you have two camps.
Yes.
Kind of a high skill camp that is really a proponent of how strong Scarf is. And then some people who are still needing to kind of figure out the kit.
Yeah.
Or genuinely think that Scarf is weak. But just know we're playing. And
we're playing and we're always listening and we're analyzing and we're thinking things through. And your voices are definitely heard. Scarf I think is definitely much stronger than the community first expected, which is good. Which is good. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Good.
So I'm gonna turn to a big topic now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna let Rocker MJ from the forums represent this, but I think there's a ton of people, and that is. How do you plan on fixing the problem with AFK people? I've been matched in at least half my games with one AFK person. So I think that might be an extreme example, but I don't want to hide from that because people are definitely dealing with AFK. And I also think there's a bit of a misconception about the role of karma and how karma plays into matchmaking. So if you could just talk about kind of what you're thinking about AFK.
Yeah, so matchmaking is a black art, meaning that it is